a new world order can emerge.
I will build a great, great wall.
Verden er i forandring, og den bliver aldrig den samme igen.
Vive la République! Vive la France!
Mit navn er Flemming Rose. Jeg mener, at den vestlige verden er i krise.
Den europæiske flygtningekrise er for alvor nået til Danmark.
The European project is actually beginning to die.
I denne programrække taler jeg med indflydelsesrige meningsdannere i et forsøg på at blive klogere på en ny verdensorden. Den liberale verdensorden er truet, men ikke af de kræfter, vi normalt tænker på. Glem alt om radikal islam, Kina, Rusland, økonomisk krise, Trump eller populistiske bevægelser. I det 21. århundrede vil den største trussel mod den liberale verdensorden komme fra de nye teknologier i Silicon Valley og omegn.
We are on the verge of creating the first inorganic life forms.
Det betyder, at det bliver muligt at skabe et nyt supermenneske. Og for første gang i historien vil millioner og atter millioner af mennesker blive økonomisk værdiløse. Vi befinder os med andre ord på tærsklen til en ny verdensorden, hvor mennesket vil stræbe efter udødelighed og guddommelige evner til at skabe og tilintetgøre. Men hvad betyder den teknologiske revolution for vores samfund, for verdensordenen og for krig og fred? Det spørger jeg den israelske historiker Yuval Harari om. Harari er forfatter til 2 internationale bestsellere om menneskets historie og om den nære fremtid. USA's tidligere præsident Barack Obama, stifteren af Microsoft Bill Gates og manden bag Facebook Mark Zuckerberg har alle peget på Hararis bøger som nøglen til forståelse af den verden, der lige om lidt bliver til virkelighed. I tusindvis af år har menneskeheden kæmpet med 3 altoverskyggende trusler: hungersnød, epidemier og krig. Gennem historien har vi været gode til at opfinde nye redskaber, nye institutioner og nye sociale systemer, der har betydet store fremskridt. Men indtil for få årtier siden er vi blevet ved med at dø i millionvis af sult, smitsomme sygdomme og vold. Det er imidlertid nu lykkedes os at tøjle hungersnød, epidemier og store krige. Vi er bedre til at producere og distribuere fødevarer. Lægevidenskaben har gjort det muligt at udrydde epidemier, og færre mennesker bliver dræbt i krig. Videnskaben har skridt for skridt flyttet grænserne for vores muligheder, og vi er nu nået til et punkt, hvor selv vores organer kan udskiftes. Alt sammen drevet af menneskets ukuelige ambition om at besejre døden. Vi står nu over for en ny revolution i menneskehedens historie. Ligesom Homo sapiens udkonkurrerede andre pattedyr og mennesker som neandertaleren, vil fremtidens opgraderede supermenneske kunne leve længere, føle sig lykkeligere og have bedre evner, end vi har. De nye teknologier kan måske lægge fundamentet til en ny menneskeart. Den nye teknologi, som Harari taler om, er i mange tilfælde allerede en realitet. I et nyligt eksperiment blev en computeralgoritme sat til at undersøge en gruppe mennesker for lungekræft. Den stillede en korrekt diagnose i 90% af tilfældene, mens rigtige læger af kød og blod måtte nøjes med en succesrate på 50%. Så spørgsmålet er nu, hvordan vi skal tilpasse fremtidens arbejdsmarked, når automatisering udkonkurrerer mennesker. Ikke blot hvad angår fysiske evner, men også intelligens. Det vil sige vores evne til at løse kognitive opgaver. Hvad vil der ske med parforhold, familier og pensionsselskaber, når regenerativ medicin forvandler vores 80-års alder til den nye 50-års alder? Hvad sker der med et samfund, hvor bioteknologi gør det muligt for dem med den største pengepung at udvikle designerbørn og dermed baner vej for gigantiske nye kløfter mellem rig og fattig? But what are the implications of this technological disruption for world order?
You're looking at things like AI replacing hundreds of millions of people in the job market and the creation of a global useless class of people who have no jobs because robots and AI do everything better. There will be new jobs, of course, for some people, but not necessarily for everybody. And the difficulties of retraining. Like people say, okay, so you won't have taxi drivers and you won't have textile workers, but you have many more software programmers. But how do you retrain millions of Bangladeshis, 40-year-old textile workers from Bangladesh? Are they going to be software engineers? Unlikely. And you need to start doing things now because the time horizon, it could be very short. We are not talking about thousands of years. We are talking about decades. You know, it's a practical question, like kids who start school today, what should they learn so that they will have a job in 30 years? Nobody has any idea. We just don't know.
It seems to me that what you're saying is, in fact, forget about radical Islam, forget about populism, forget about Trump, forget about China's current shape. You have to look to Silicon Valley as a metaphor maybe in order to identify the potential biggest threat to the world order of today. Is that true? Is that the way you look at it?
Not Silicon Valley alone, but yes, the ideas, the inventions, the technologies that is coming from them. In short, it's the combination of biotech and infotech. We are hacking the human organism at the same time that we develop these immense computing capabilities. When you put the two together, what you get is the ability to hack and control and manipulate people on a scale which was unimaginable, even for George Orwell or for Joseph Stalin. Now, I don't think that the people in Silicon Valley are evil. Actually, just the opposite. I think many of them are seeing the signs of dangers today sooner than maybe anybody else in the world. And you do hear more and more warnings coming from people like Elon Musk or like Mark Zuckerberg in different ways. And whereas in Washington, everybody is concerned about stuff from the 20th century.
ISIS, North Korea.
ISIS, immigration, and things like that, which are serious problems, definitely. They need our attention, but we can win all the small battles against ISIS, against North Korea, and against the economic crisis, and lose the really big war.
Which is?
Which is the technological disruption, which AI and biotechnology and the combination of the two will bring. And if you think short term, and what we do in most political systems, they think short terms. They see the immediate benefits of such developments, and they discount the long-term dangers. I don't think that technology is deterministic. You can use the same technology to build completely different societies. In the 20th century, you could use the same industrial technology of trains and electricity and radio to build a Nazi dictatorship or to build a liberal democracy. It's the same technology. So it's not the technology in itself which is the problem. It's what we do with that. There is a lot of talk today about hacking computers, but actually the really important thing is that we are hacking humanity. We are learning to understand in a very deep sense this mechanism of Homo sapiens. We are not there yet, but we are close to the point when an external system, if it has enough biometric data on you, and if it has enough computing power, it can understand you better than you understand yourself. What you think, what you like, what you feel, and how to manipulate you, how to press your emotional buttons. Now, in democratic societies, with all the issues of privacy and individualism and so forth, we don't like the idea of the government or Google collecting all our DNA samples and all our medical records and all our life history in one big database and allowing an algorithm to go over that and find correlations. But in a place like China, this could be done. If they do that, they will hack genetics, the human genome, far faster than any country in the West that cares about privacy and so forth. And this is just one example.
But if you take the pattern you lay out of the history of mankind and the way Homo sapiens treated inferior species and other human beings. It seems that there is a risk that these new superhuman beings, maybe if they behave the same way as Homo sapiens behaved vis-a-vis other species, the future for people like you and me don't look very bright.
Yeah, definitely. If the superhumans of the future, or the AI of the future, will behave like us, it's very bad news for us.
What will happen to us? Will we be extended?
Either phased out, exterminated forcefully. There are some scenarios like that. More likely just phased out.
What does that mean?
It means that humankind may split into a small elite which gets all kinds of upgrades, biological upgrades, and becomes superhuman and monopolizes most of the wealth and power. And then you have 50, 70, 90, 95% of humankind being left behind as a growing pile of the useless class, of people who can't do anything useful better than a computer or AI or robot, who have no economic power and therefore also no political power, and whose fate depends on the good wishes, on the kindness of the master race. And looking at human history, it's not a position you would like to be in, to be dependent on the kindness of the master race. This is the kind of things that, if you're worried about, there is nothing that Israel or Denmark or even the US can do about it unless it cooperates with other nations. And again, I'm not optimistic, but I think that this is the only realistic option. If we keep thinking in terms of each individual nation state taking care of its own interests, failure is probably guaranteed.
You painted this rather pessimistic picture. What do you see? I mean, if we would be able to organize this global cooperation with the use of this disruptive technology, what would the future look like in 2050, for instance?
The responsible answer is that nobody has any idea. If we don't destroy ourselves, then the possibilities are really endless. For the first time in history, we have no idea how the world would look like in a few decades. Not only how the political system would look like, we don't know how the job market would look like, we don't know what family structure would look like, we don't know what the human body would look like, because for the first time, we are gaining the technology to start re-engineering our bodies, our brains, our minds. So this is the most responsible answer I can give. And it's important to realize it, that for the first time in history, we don't know even the basics about how the world would look like in a few decades.
On this optimistic note, thanks a lot. It was wonderful talking to you.
It was an interesting interview.
Fantastic. Jeg har i snart 30 år beskæftiget mig med verden og dens problemer. Men Yuval Harari har åbnet døren til en ny virkelighed, som jeg indtil nu ikke har skænket mange tanker. Det er ikke fordi han underkender de velkendte trusler og udfordringer, såsom økonomiske kriser og krige. Men han afdækker et perspektiv på de nye teknologier, som kan få mere vidtgående konsekvenser for os alle sammen og verden, end vi har fantasi til at forestille os. Om solen er ved at gå ned over menneskeheden, er for tidligt at sige. Alt, hvad Harari siger, er, at mennesket med de nye teknologier vil frigøre sig fra det organiske livs principper om evolution og naturlig selektion. I stedet vil mennesket blive i stand til at designe et nyt supermenneske med evner og muligheder, som vi aldrig nogensinde har set før. Hvordan mennesket vil bruge de evner og muligheder, står hen i det uvisse. Men det er uomtvisteligt, at der åbner sig perspektiver, som vil få afgørende indflydelse på den verden, som vores børn og børnebørn kommer til at leve i.